Hey, I'm Mark,
And I'm Craig.
and this is Songwriters Tales with today's guest, William Kitchens, Nashville songwriter.
Nashville songwriter, jingle creator, and podcaster from Nashville, Tennessee.
Hey, we're back, and we are pleased to be joined by William Kitchens, who I'll let him kind of do a rundown of his illustrious music career. But he is an old friend, great songwriter, and Craig, I'll let you kind of give him a proper introduction.
Absolutely. Hello, William.
Hello, my friend.
And I'm assuming you're in Nashville right now, are you?
I am sitting in my studio here in beautiful Nashville, Tennessee.
Wonderful, wonderful. So, real quick introduction. I have known William as long as I've known you, Mark, for almost 30 plus years now, I think. I was introduced to William with one of my old crew members from one of my bands, Frank Binkley. And that's how long we've known each other. And you were... when I first met you, Frank said, "You need to know William, man. He's a great songwriter." I said, let's talk. So that's where we started 30 years ago. So tell us about yourself, William. You've got a long history.
Yeah.
Some of it good. Yeah.
Kind of knew I wanted to do this. I feel blessed that I did get to do this for about 46 years as a professional musician. Actually performing. I've retired from all that now. I'm doing some other things, but music was always a career that it was either Major League Baseball or this, and the odds were better, I think, for me in this. I started playing professionally at the age of 15, much like you. I'm surprised that we didn't cross paths before, because I know your bio, and we were playing in the same parts of Atlanta. Different. I was, playing at, what was that place? It was 688 Spring Street. Before that, it was called Rose's Cantina.
I remember that.
I was about 16 years old. It was there at 688 Spring Street. Was playing at Buckhead in the early 80s at the Buckhead Saloon. Doing a lot of things from the age of 15. I wasn't hiding under a B3, as you said. We checked it. You could actually work. You could work in those lounges as long as you weren't drinking and, you were working. You had a job, just like the bus boy in the back that might be 15 or 16. So they allowed it. So I did we came up at a great time, man, when every bar, every hotel had a bar and live music 6-7 days a week. It was an opportunity that kids today don't have to perform.
Yeah.
And I think it's hurting the industry. I don't that young people don't really, unless you're in Nashville or another market, can get out there and just grind it, like you said, paying your dues nightly, every day.
Yep.
And getting supported, making an income with it. So I was blessed to have that opportunity. So that career lasted up until about 3 years ago, when I decided that Morgan Wallen, at 65, I didn't want to sing Morgan Wallen songs, and that's okay.
That's all right.
That's okay. He probably wouldn't want me singing them either. So I decided that's just a joke. God bless Morgan Wallen. I wish him every success.
Absolutely.
But the whole Broadway scene's changed and all that. But I did. I was blessed. I got to make a living. Had a great career. Had the opportunity to start signing songs with some folks in Nashville. Started in 1987. Met Al DeLory, a member of the Wrecking Crew, who introduced me to Garth Brooks' manager, who introduced me to some other folks, and started signing the songs. And it's been great.
So I'm just trying to place the year, because I remember way back when you were still living in Atlanta, and I think you had just bought a new truck, and you were heading out to Nashville, and that's about the time I believe you had that song with Darren. So you want to, so tell the audience that story and what you want to tell of it.
That single release was Bad Dog, New Biscuit, recorded by Darren Norwood, and it's had a storied life. It originally began in 1991 when a friend of mine came into one of the venues I was playing, had a button said Bad Dog, New Biscuit, and I was writing songs and going back and forth to Nashville, and I went, man, I got to write that. So Scott Farrell and I actually had the keys. It was a place at that time. It's gone through many name changes, but it was originally J.D. Dempsey's. So I had a key to the place because it was a house duo there. And so that night we locked ourselves in and wrote that song in about 20 minutes, stuck a boom box out in front and made a demo real quick of it.
Those were the days.
At the time, 1991, I was thinking this would be great for the Kentucky Headhunters. So like you, Craig, I used my salesmanship skills, got on the phone, found out who the Kentucky Headhunters manager was, got him on the phone, said, hey, I got the song that I think would be great for the Kentucky Headhunters. This is 1991. Yeah. And so he laughs and says, well, it's not, they're doing their own stuff. They don't take, but what, just out of curiosity, what's the song called? And I said, Bad Dog, No Biscuit. And he said, well, anything with a title like that, I want to hear anyway. So send it to me. And so I rushed down to the United States Postal Service, that old day, made a cassette copy of it, right?
Cassettes, that's right.
We didn't have the internet.
Nope. Snail mail.
We didn't have a way to, so I got that tape, and in just a few days, 4 or 5 days later, I get a call from him, and he's got the song playing in the background of the phone. He goes, you're absolutely right. This is great for the Kentucky Hunters. He puts a hold on it.
Whoa.
Now, I'd been going to Nashville and signing songs with smaller publishers since 1987, but this was big deal, having a hold with the Kentucky Headhunters. So I parlayed that. I immediately got in the car, went to Nashville, made a few phone calls. Hey, my name's William Kitchens. I've got a hold right now with the Kentucky Headhunters. I'm looking for somebody to administer my catalog. And all the doors swung wide open because I had a legitimate hold. And at that time, I took it to a few people. And Judy Harris was one of them. Great lady, first lady of song publishing in Nashville. She's got a great career. In fact, you guys should get her on the show. She's one of the historic early female pioneers of the Nashville music industry. Anyway, so she loved the song. I elected to sign it with her. She sends me into Tammy Wynette's studio and says, let's just, I like this demo. We need a better demo, but let's go in. I'm pitching something to Garth today. Go in, let's go in Tammy Wynette's studio for me and just cut an acoustic version of a shuffle version of the song. Totally different arrangement, something Garth might have done. Well, I'm back in the pound, back on the chain, my baby left. So I'll go in the studio and cut that for her. By the time I got back to Atlanta, I had a voicemail. Now Garth's got a hold on it. And I'm thinking, here it comes, And Mark,
see, I didn't know all that.
To your point, we know what a hold will get you in this town, right? A cup of coffee. That's about it. That's all it'll get you.
If somebody else pays for it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so it went from the Headhunters to Garth to Marshall Tucker to a couple other bands. And then all of a sudden one night, just a few weeks later, a couple of months later, Scott and I are performing Bad Dog No Biscuit at J.D. Dempsey's. And my friends from Kicks 101.5 in Atlanta, Jim Van and some of the other crew came in to see me that night. I'd met them through John Glacio at the Buttboard, and we'd all become friends at one time. And they come in the studio. So we played Bad Dog No Biscuit. And Jim, and I hate to say, I can't remember the other, he come run up to the stage and go, what are you doing Darren Norwood's song for? And I go, what are you talking about? That's Darren Norwood's song. He's been singing at the Buckboard for 2 months.
What?
And I'm like, this is my song. So I called John Glacio and I got at the Buckboard and I go, hey, John, who's this Darren Norwood guy singing Bad Dog No Biscuit? And he didn't know it was my song. He had been pitched it and liked it so much he was already performing it. So that's when I met Darren. Now, this is 1993 by now, maybe, or 92, something right now. I
Early
can't remember
90s,
this.
yeah.
I'm getting, So Darren makes that part of his show. He performs it on Nashville Now before he even has a record with it.
Wow.
He goes on Nashville Now, records it. I'm thinking, well, this is pretty cool. But it doesn't make the first album.
Yeah.
It doesn't go in there. So you know that Heartbreak, right? You got a hold, you're going to do that.
Yep.
And but finally, the second album, he kept performing it, and it was the first single off Ready, Willing, and Able, which came out in March of 1995 and jumped on the charts. And then 8 years later, fast forward, I'm sitting, this is the great thing about a song, I'm sitting in the hospital with my mom, my phone starts lighting up. It's 2008. and bzz, bzz, I got on vibrate. Bzz, bzz, it's just going off like 25 phone calls bzz, bzz, going off. I'm going, I haven't talked to Greg Gleason in forever. What's he talking? I'm kidding. But all these calls are coming in. Well, I waited till the end of my visit. I got in the car. I said, man, we just heard your song on NCIS. I'm going, what? It can't be right. One of my brothers, Kevin, was one that called too. And I said, no, you sure it wasn't just they said Bad Dog? No, it was your song in the first 60 seconds, which is a great place to have a song sync in a major network television show. So 13 years after it was on radio, bam, it's on NCIS and they get that sync money. So I'll call Universal Music. I've been thinking, man, I've been telling you guys, they had bought the catalog from Judy. So I called Universal Music Group out in Los Angeles, and I got to the sync license department. I said, man, I've been begging you guys for years. Come on, Dog Biscuits, Hardy, something. You got to find some kind of placement for this song. I mean, I said, who pitched it? I want to talk to him. Who got this song placed in NCIS? And the guy came back. We didn't do a thing. Mark Harmon knew the song, called and asked for it. He's an executive producer on the show, too. He just remembered the song and thought it would be good for the opening scene in NCIS. So if I ever see Mark Harmon, if I ever see Mark in the airport, I'm going to give him a big, giant hug, because that was awesome. The most money the song made. It made more of being on NCIS. So that's why I tell young songwriters, everybody wants those sync placements now, because you can actually negotiate the amount that you're going to get for it. And if they want it bad enough, they'll pay for it. But just streaming on Apple and Spotify, good Lord, that's a lot of work trying to make a living.
To that mind, William, so, and this dovetails right into what you were talking about. What is the industry now? How's it changed so much? I remember when getting an album cut on a record that sold well made you good money. Now, of course, there's no albums anymore. I guess they are, but everything is streamed. But what's in your mind? What's changed?
The business model definitely changed. And it's sad. There's just no money in streaming. Apple and Spotify, we had the Napster area that evolved into Spotify and the Apple's music streaming, and they sort of wrote their own rules. They didn't have the contracts with the performing rights organizations in radio that the old model had, with just airwave radio. So they sort of wrote their own rules. And fortunately, Marsha Blackburn, here in Nashville, is trying to get the Fairness in Music Act passed with the help of everybody from Steve Lukather, from Toto, Gene Simmons, and other folks that are coming to Tennessee to meet with her and then going to Congress to testify to correct this wrong, because there's just no money left for pure songwriters, which is unfortunate. So unless you're an artist that can sell tickets, merch, and those things, the only money in songwriting today is either owning the publishing and getting your own sync licenses, getting it placed in film and TV. I hate to be Debbie Downer here, but that's just the truth. And any young talent will tell you, you got kids out here with 1 million followers on Spotify who aren't making much money at all.
Right.
So,
well, when you can spend just a few dollars a month and get every song that you'd ever want to hear, where you used to have to spend $12, $15 to get an album. And then they made it a long time ago where you could buy just a single, for $1 or whatever. And now it's even diminished even more than that. And the labels were way behind the 8 ball, and I don't think they're going to get caught up. So, and that's just the nature of everything, I guess, William. It
evolves. Yeah.
It evolves. It changes, and we don't have to talk about this now.
Because I want my money
I was
back.
I was going to say about AI, how AI is changing
CDs
the whole landscape.
Yeah,
now,
oh yeah,
in the
definitely
industry as well.
Yeah, Mark had asked me before the show about the jingle production and if I was still doing that, because that was another. I look back about 16 years ago. I said, well, I've got this broadcast studio. Let me, I had a friend, a club that I was performing in, that asked me to write a jingle for his business. He was going to do a radio ad campaign. I did, and it became very popular. Everyone in the Milledgeville, Macon area knew that jingle. It became highly successful for him. So I thought, maybe I'll do something. So I started a brand called American Jingle, built a Facebook page, CEO, search engine optimization, got it, and started getting a lot of requests for jingles. That's died off now. AI is going to steal that, man. Anybody that can hum a tune or just suggest a jingle with a tagline can get Suno to develop a jingle for them if they're in compliance with whatever that fluid moving goalpost.
And it's usually pretty darn good. It's
incredible.
Yeah.
I tell you, I did an experiment. I had a lot of songs that, you write enough. I wasn't one of those writers that wrote every day. I tried to write quality over quantity. I didn't want to just sit down and just hammer stuff out and hope one sticks. I would spend time. We could talk about, our song and how well it did. And you spent a lot of time with Lonely Kind of Love. You brought me into it, thankfully. One of our we had a lot of holes in that song. We had one of the greatest song pluggers, one of the greatest song pluggers at Nashville, who just passed away, Norman DeVasier, who was responsible for probably 150, 200 classic country music hits as the plugger, believed in that song. And I'm thankful that you brought me in on it because
you had a brilliant plug-in on it, man.
You brought me. That was our song with our good buddy
Chip Martin.
Chip Martin, who's a great producer and talented guy. Just super talented. And we probably had more holds on that. It used to be. I had a. Somebody asked me about the music business, and I told them what it used to be. It used to be that an artist would record 25 songs.
Yeah.
And then it would become like an NFL draft room. You get the A&R people in there. You get the president of the record label. You get the artist. You get the management in there, and they're looking at the draft board. And they're going to narrow that down, those 25 songs or 25 songs to 10 for that album. And you and I know Leon Rams got that call. I remember getting the call. I was sitting downtown Nashville, and Norm said, Leon Rams just cut Lonely Kind of Love. And I'm like, well, here we go.
And she was hot, man. It was her second record. It was her second album.
Dina Carter, same thing. Kevin Sharp, Lonely Kind of Love. We had more holds and cuts that didn't make that final 10.
And the song's still out there.
And Norm believed, there's still a chance, maybe. Yeah.
You never know.
Wouldn't that be cool?
What a story that would be.
We could start a publishing company called Get Off My Lawn. We could be the old guys. There's the song we should write. Get Off My Lawn. Yeah. I've reached that age. So, where were we? I'm sorry. I digressed. I wandered off like an old man.
We were talking about cuts. And,
I think that
we were talking about the changing industry.
Yeah, I think that. So, what would you tell a young songwriter now? Honestly, you said that your son. Tell us about your son. You said your son.
Just super proud of him. Wow. He So 10 years ago, he's in Atlanta. He's performing all over the place. They're doing Masquerade. They're opening for some major bands. They were in a metal band, and 4 guys in the group. And Tyler comes to me and says, "Dad, they get a record deal. They get offered a record deal. They're going to go out to LA and record." This is about 10 years ago. He says, "Dad, I don't really want to do this. I think I want to be a film composer." Now, my good buddy. I got a good buddy in Atlanta, Harrison Henson, who's a world-class pianist, studied with Leonard Bernstein, has played on the Oscars twice, has been the hands of the TV show Fame. He went out to California, and he's a world-class pianist and producer. He's not doing that work. But my son just says, "Hey, I want to be a film composer." I'm like, don't let anybody tell you can't do anything. That would be my advice to anybody. Don't let anybody tell you no. Just if you believe in it, go do it, persevere, work hard. So he goes out. He leaves this band called Origin. He goes out and buys an 88 key weighted Yamaha. I get him installed with a good DAW on his computer. And within 7 months, he has stuff on Turner and Adult Swim.
Unreal, man.
That is killer.
That's awesome.
The band breaks up. And the other three guys go on to pretty good careers. One worked with Kelly Clarkson, became her music supervisor. The other is John Cadow is a Grammy Award-winning hip-hop producer at Tree Sound in Atlanta. And Teddy Swims was the lead singer.
Oh my gosh.
So that's
Good
the band.
Lord.
That was the band Tyler was in. And now Tyler is
Wow.
married, happily living up in Winnipeg, doing work coming out of Atlanta for Lifetime, Netflix. He just did Zach
Nice.
Braff's new film. He's doing sound design and film scoring. So don't let anybody tell you no. But I worry for him and for other because soon AI is going to jingles and film scores. It's not going to get. It's just going to get better.
Yeah.
I'm using AI.
Yeah.
I'm using AI
we
for
are
stuff
too.
that amazes me. I had some pickups that I wanted to sell today. I took a picture on ChatGPT. This is great. I took a picture because I'd replaced the pickups in that guitar that I bought with some Eric Johnson Strat pickups. So I couldn't identify the pickups that I'd removed. So I just took a picture of the headstock with the serial number, took a picture of the back of the pickups, and within 30 seconds I had a Facebook Marketplace ad describing everything. I had them in my car. It was going to go to the music store. I said, "Can you identify these pickups? Because I don't know what they're worth or anything." And I'm sitting in my car, and I was able to have a Facebook Marketplace ad on in just a matter of seconds.
It's great. Well, you know what? When Mark and I started working with the AI and the Suno, I told Mark, I said, I feel like I'm dancing with the devil, man. And talking with the publishers, especially Rex out in LA.
Right.
Everybody was just no, we're not going there. The big publishers, Penn Music, all of them were going, no, we're not touching that. And within just a couple of weeks, almost maybe at the max a month, they went from that to, well, we're redrawing the boundaries here. We're going to go this far, but no further. And then a few weeks later, it was we'll go this far and this far. And so they're still trying to figure it out because of the legalities of it and the, all the different nuances. But that remains to be seen. It's going to be an interesting landscape in about a year, to see where all that's gone.
Well, what I was going to say though, I heard a counter argument for that. And it was for a guy who actually does sync for a living. He gets, pitches to music supervisors all day, every day. And it's like anything else. The new toy hits the market and there will be flooded, there'll be all, like William, you were saying, there'll be all kinds of things flooding the market, but he believes the pendulum is going to swing back because people are going to want original. They're going to want, because as good as Suno is, and the other ones I'm sure are probably just as good, but as good as Suno is, it doesn't have the human factor. It doesn't have that element that, so, I mean, and he said, this is somebody who does it for a living. He said, I'm not worried because he said, the music supervisors I know, they're still going to be looking for authentic. They're not going to be, because, sure, some people are going to say, great, just whip up something and send it over for me. But, I think just try to be a little bit of ray of sunshine. Because I do think originality will win out. And it's going to thin it most definitely will water down
I hope so.
the pool.
Well, garbage in, garbage out, right?
Right.
But with AI, it's learning from you. I've watched a few videos of Suno, and they're pretty much taking your content. So if you're a talented writer and you're using Suno to help you create an affordable demo, which is extremely capable of doing, even with your melody and your lyrics, it's stealing from you kind of, and so that input's going to get better, and it's going to call that, and it's going to. So I wish I was as optimistic as you, Mark, but I'm not. I have a feeling one day that, I see it as a tool. I tried it. I've only done one Suno experiment, and I imagine you guys have. I took. You can't possibly record every song you have. A publisher's going to look at your song catalog, and if they're going to invest in a demo, which most publishers, you're investing in your own demo, just like, if you're an artist, you're pretty much growing your own fan base without the help of the label. We'll just, when you succeed, then we'll help you. So, but
exactly.
I took a song that I'd always believed in, that I'd not really pushed or pitched. I just took a cassette work tape that I digitized years ago in my song catalog, and I went, oh, that's a pretty good song. So as an experiment, RK, my good friend RK Brown, of course you know too, great producer and world-class bassist with everybody from Alabama to frontmen of country, or frontmen. Anyway, we loaded that into Suno, and in 90 seconds, I gave it a few prompts. It mimicked my voice and gave me a demo that would have cost me $1,200 in the 90s at County Q. Here in Nashville, it would have cost me that, and it sounded, I knew with a little fine tweaking, I could make it absolutely perfect. It scared me. I just backed off. I was like, nah, I haven't gone that route yet. I don't think there's any money for me in doing that anyway. So I've just kind of, I'm watching with one eye, seeing what happens.
Well, I was talking, William, Pat Buchanan, no doubt.
Oh, love him, man.
Well, Pat's coming on the show. I've had 2 hour-long conversations with him this last week, and he and I have known each other actually out of Tallahassee when I was with Eli. He grew up down there, moved up here, and then Ed C. got Pat. I'm not going to tell his story, but Ed brought Pat out to Nashville. So I've known Pat ever since he moved up to Nashville, and we were talking about the AI conundrum. And he was saying a lot of what you're saying. Part of it has to do with them taking your material, but again, I'm not educated enough on the subject yet to figure out. In fact, I don't know that anybody's got a handle on what's going on with it yet. So,
well, here's what
I guess
I'd
we're
like
just
to
going to
see.
have to see.
I'd like to see this happen. This is where I'd like to see it go, but that would demand integrity. But what I would like to see happen is for artists and vocalists, session singers, and guitar players, guys like Jeff King and Pat Buchanan and Brent Mason and all these great players, David Hungate, that they all model their styles. They could input information and create a license that you could purchase. So on this Suno demo, I want David Hungate, Jeff King, whoever, Eddie Bayer, whatever.
Dial in your players
and pay a licensing fee to get them, or whatever the hot demo singer was at the time. Joe Diffie used to be a great demo singer in Nashville.
It's funny that you say that, because I think that's the model that Hollywood's going to have to do too, because these actors are going to license their likeness, and you can have 30-year-old Brad Pitt in your movie, and there are stipulations, and here's your licensing fee, and I think it's going that way.
How long before there's a new Elvis movie?
Oh, I don't know.
It's not that long away, but I guarantee you
I'll be there.
Yeah,
I'll go watch it. Go watch it.
Can I change streams in mid-horse?
Yeah.
I know I said that wrong.
That can become your catchphrase.
Yeah, I might have to do that. So I want to move to the side here and take a different angle here. I'm assuming you're still writing, are you?
When I feel inspired, I mean, I do like I always do. I keep a journal. Okay. Only now it's on my iPhone, and I can hum a little melody in there. And oh, by the way, that's my beautiful wife. I would get her in the shot. Where we got there she is.
Oh, look at you,
Angelica.
Whoa!
All right,
you're punching.
Give a shout out to her. My inspiration for 32 years.
You're punching above your weight, my man.
Boy, I am, aren't I? 32 years, January 25th.
That's awesome, man.
Good for you, man.
So, where were you going? My wife distracted me. Oh, writing. When I feel inspired, I mean, I have some great ideas.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be honest, some of the great ideas that I have don't align with my spiritual beliefs as a Christian right now. Things that, I wrote like Bad Dog No Biscuit, I probably would not have written if the idea had come today. Yeah. And I've got some great songs that would fit. I'm a creative guy. I've got some great ideas for songs, and I'll pal around with some of my musical friends here in Nashville and, why don't you write that? And I'm going to guess I just don't really want to I don't want to be aligned with a topic like that where I encourage, I'm just being honest. I don't want to be aligned with, the drinking culture now.
Yeah.
I mean, I enjoy a good Woodford. Don't get me wrong. I'll drink a beer in a Mexican restaurant watching Craig anytime.
No, you
Craig's in
won't.
there. I'll take a margarita with his music. I don't mind that. I'm not self-righteous. I just mean I don't know if I want to be a part of that culture.
Yeah.
Even though the ideas are great, it just condones. I don't want to push on it. So I'm not sure. So
Yeah. So
yeah,
I was going to ask you about all the songs you've written, because you and I have actually written quite a few tunes together with Donnie Sawyer. Donnie Sawyer was an artist in Nashville. He's now moved away from there. Super singer. Had a couple.
Just the best.
Had a couple of record deals, publishing deals. I mean, the guy was just like on his way. And just another example of so close but no cigar. And you and I, he was a buddy of yours. You introduced him or me to him, and I'd come out to Nashville and actually stayed at his house a few times and wrote with him. Stayed with Norman because Norman was working with us.
That's right.
And we wrote several tunes that were and are great songs. Is It Just Me was one example that you and I wrote with Donnie. But out of all the tunes you've written, what would you consider your best song that, even if it's not commercial,
What's your
just
one
whatever,
go-to
is
if
either
someone
heartfelt.
said,
Yeah, what would you consider
"Sing me your best
tune?
song"? What would you say? What
And
would you
why?
sing?
Well, right off the top of my head, I would argue Lonely Kind of Love, but I think that would be biased because of the success it had being pitched, and the belief, like Mark mentioned on his episode, about having somebody believe in you, which is more important. I'd rather have one song plugger believe in a song and pitch it than
That's it.
the pat on the back attaboys from a group of people. But of course, everybody loves you when you're on top, right? Everybody wants to write with you when you're, I got invited once to write with John Oates, but unfortunately the scheduling conflict got, and I really was looking forward to that. That was like, that was going to be like, I don't know, just, it's the way I felt when I first met Al DeLory. At the age of 27, I met Al DeLory, the great piano, and Glenn Campbell's producer, won 2 Grammys for Wichita Lineman. And by the time I get to Phoenix, and all I could do was sit there and look at his piano with those 2 Grammys there, thinking how big of a fan I was of Glenn Campbell. And I just booked another hour with him just to talk about Glenn Campbell. I just wanted to talk about, that kind of thing. So my favorite song, oh gosh, that's hard. That's like picking one of your children. There have been songs, there are songs you write, like Bad Dog and Biscuit. I've always been apologetic for that because that was a 20-minute novelty song. It took me Scott and I 20 minutes to write. I mean, it just boom, came out. And that's the one that gets recorded. But when I think about Lonely Kind of Love, I regret that didn't make it to radio because that would have been life-changing for us. That would have been a hit. That would have been something that people remembered.
Yeah.
I could talk about Bad Dog and a Biscuit and people go, what? I don't know if, a lot of times people have heard it, but have Lonely Kind of Love, if it's in a vault somewhere, I'd love to hear LeAnn Rimes.
Man, wouldn't you love to hear those cuts? Wouldn't you love to hear all the cuts?
I've got a bunch of demos, and we had a lot of people cut it. I even did a modern version. That was one of the ones I did when I moved back to Nashville. I thought, well, everything's up tempo now, so let's cut. You're always experimenting with the songs. You're always thinking, well, can we, which we go back to Suno, that's a great way to do that. You could take, all right, now make it an Hawaiian a Hawaiian song or whatever, luau song.
Songs are like that. Just give you an example from you saying that, William. I wrote a song called Slowing Down about getting older. Wrote it this year this last year. You've heard it. And it was a first person narrative of I'm slowing down, getting older. And it got a lot of attention, but all of a sudden the publishers are saying nobody's going to want to sing that. Because I went to Nashville and Ed C mixed it for me. All the A-listers recorded the song. It was a great demo and it was a great song, but nobody would listen to it or record it because they didn't want to admit they're getting older, as they said. And so I'm licking my wounds. I went, you know what? There's more ways to skin a cat than this way here. So I rewrote it in third person about somebody else getting older. That way a 20-year-old could sing it. You didn't have to be pushing 70 to be able to sing this tune. And once I rewrote it, like you say, you either speed it up, you change it, put it to a swing beat, you slow it down. There's got to be a way to make a song find its home. And
Audience,
that
yeah.
worked on that one so far. So, but you're right. You have to be creative as a songwriter, and you can't just pigeonhole yourself into one way of looking at something.
Yeah, I
You're
had a
right.
similar song too called Living Young, which I wrote in my 40s, early 40s. And it was, I had Donnie cut it. Donnie's just a great singer.
Gosh.
And he did a great job on it. It could have been a George Strait cut. There's guys out there, that could cut those songs. So just write I think it took me years. Don't chase the charts. Just write what you believe in.
Yeah.
Write what you know about, just
Great
like,
advice.
I think Mark said it too, the other one, on one of the episodes I watched that he was talking about, how did you phrase it about Mark? How did you phrase it about just writing honest, write what you know about, write what when I'm jingle writing, I'm writing maybe for novelty.
Yeah.
There's one jingle that I wrote that I wish somebody would actually buy. It's one of the funniest things. It made me laugh so loud when I came with the idea. I was driving by a funeral home and thought, you never hear a jingle for a funeral home. And I thought, so it immediately came to me, you don't want to go, but when you go to Tom Waits' funeral home. I thought, man, if a funeral home would have the guts to put that out, you don't want to go, but when you go,
Yeah.
go to Tom Waits' funeral. You're going to go sometime. Might as well go to Tom Waits' funeral. People in Atlanta will know that.
I want to say, and Mark will arrange this. We're going to, sometime during our podcast, we will have, we'll put Lonely Kind of Love up. And,
definitely.
we'll have it played. We'll put a link on Spotify, YouTube, and all that.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
got to
and
put the
we'll-
one that you got to put the one with the tremolo. That's the one Norm loved, the original.
Is that the one
Norm-
that Randy
Norm
produced,
did
right?
not. Yeah, Randy produced it. Danny Lewis sang it, and Norm didn't even want to hear another version of that song, unless it was
I love that
cut by an
version.
artist.
That tremolo guitar.
The original, yeah.
Well, we can
Yep.
get it on. We'll add it to the episode. So since we talked about it, we'll definitely add it to the episode so people can hear it.
And we need to get a copy of Bad Dog No Biscuit, so that either the intro of this show, which is already played.
Well, it's on
I'm speaking
Spotify.
into
It's
the
on
future.
YouTube. Yeah, it's.
Yeah.
I mean, you can find it on YouTube. You can insert it. There's different versions on YouTube. There's him performing it on Nashville Now, and then there's actually the country music video.
Okay.
The official video release is the one that I would.
That's
Okay.
the one I saw recently. So
Yeah, we'll do
How
that.
how can people get in touch with you, William, if they need a jingle, or just want to reach out to you somehow? Do you have some kind of a platform that they can easily?
Well, the company's
reach you?
called American Jingle. They can just reach me. I have a new show. I have a new podcast that I'm going to be producing.
Super.
Hopefully
cool.
this time. I'm going back to my love of. So I'll give you the just hitwriter@gmail.com is the. I couldn't believe I was fooling around with a Gmail address years ago, and that was available. So I said, "What the
That's
heck?
good.
I'll
That's
take
great,
it."
man. Hit
Well,
writer.
I'll
take it.
I'll make sure that shows up on the show too.
Yeah,
So
they can get in
Tell
touch
us
with me.
about your podcast. And
Well, the new podcast that I'm doing, I had a chance to do kind of what you guys are doing with Pod 615. I got to interview Hall of Fame songwriter Dickie Lee and some other folks and touring musicians and stuff. That was a lot of fun, but it takes a lot of discipline to do. So I'm learning. As I get to be 65, there's not a lot of options left for me. So I'm going to go ahead and dive into this new concept that I've created called Top 40 Flashback, where I'm going to discuss there'll be a daily episode Monday through Friday called The Daily Hit, where I break down in 5 to 7 minute YouTube podcasts the song and the story behind the song, like, nostalgia. Where were you when you roller skated to, Little
great
Willie?
idea.
You
Great
know,
idea.
one hit wonders,
I love
interesting chart stat songs that,
I love
just
that
like
idea.
today on my social media, the show hasn't started yet, but Bon Jovi's first single only cracked the top 40. Runaway hit 39 and then went right back out. But who would know that Bon Jovi would have such a legendary career after that first song? But just got into the top 40. So that was a fun little
Yeah.
fact. So I shared that. So I'm building momentum. You can find that on Instagram, Top 40 Flashback. You can find it on TikTok. You can find it on Facebook. There's pages now. So every day I'm posting content about a song. Some of those will be covered more in depth down the road in the podcast. I'm hoping to have a tentative launch date of March 2nd. And
Nice.
I'll break down the songs, the stories behind the songs, and hopefully that'll find an audience. And, it's something I want to do. As a kid, I love that music. I used to pretend to be a DJ when I was a kid. Before I could play guitar, I would steal my mom's turntable and my turntable, and I would grab her record collection and what little I had. In fact, one of the first records I had were the Chipmunks sing, whatever. Anyway, I would make up this radio show, and I would sit there and play records and pretend, you're listening. WQXI, Gary McKee, hats off to him.
Oh,
My
yeah.
childhood DJ hero, and, you're on WQXI, Quixie, listening to all the hits with, whatever. And then you hear the Chipmunks singing Downtown, when you're alone and life is making you long, whatever. And so I just, whatever
awesome.
records I could find to, make sure I wasn't repeating myself.
I love it.
So now I'm getting to do this because of the internet and YouTube and things like that. I've come full circle. Full circle. So now I'll have a sort of little radio show every day.
Well, we've got a guest coming on in a few weeks that you'll appreciate, Kelly McCoy from WQXI.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Kelly's coming on.
And then he went to Z93 for a while too, right?
Yes, he did.
He
did.
transitioned from WQXI to Z93.
And he
did.
started out of Athens at WRFC, the college station. And Kelly's been a good bud since about 1975, I think. I've known.
Oh, that's
Kelly.
exciting. Well, he's got some stories.
So when you were talking, I was thinking, because he just loves music, man. I mean, he just absorbs it and loves it. And that's what I was going to say. You're a prime example of people like us that do what we do because not for the rewards necessarily, because oftentimes there's no reward except for the satisfaction that you're doing something that you love, and we appreciate you, man. I love your stories.
Well, I appreciate
we'll have to
having
have you on again. We'll have to have you on again.
You guys this is a great idea. I wish you every success, and I hope this show really takes off for you, and that you can maintain the momentum and get people.
Well, Craig, I was going to say, I think I've met somebody who's just as good of a salesman as you are. So I thought you were the best, but I think William's giving you a run for your money.
Yeah, we're two peas in a pod, man. We're both go-getters. I'm just amazed when I hear these stories how many times we were so close, because I knew Pat Buchanan independent of knowing Craig, but we knew the same people. We were playing almost in the same rooms. And Eli, man, that was a big deal.
Yeah.
That was a big band, man. You guys were up there with Pranks and Choice and all those great Atlanta bands.
That's
that were
right.
Playing Uncle
And
Tom's Tavern and
yeah.
C.W. Shaw's and
That's
all
right.
those great venues, man. You guys were rocking. You guys, bumper stickers on the back of stop signs everywhere.
Many, yeah.
I wanted to be y'all. I was like, because I was doing these Holiday Inn,
Well, they may have a vacancy now.
Side.
Hey, Charlie Roberts, the head of Eli, is coming on our show.
Oh, man. You guys got
he's
some
coming
exciting
on, and so he's. I learned so much from him, and those were good times. Those are good times, William. Good times for sure.
Well, I appreciate you guys having me on the show and let me share some of these stories. And like I said, this is a great idea. These songwriter tales are going to be fun to watch and listen to. Hear these stories behind the songs.
Well, we appreciate your time, man. Appreciate it.
Thank you, brother.
God bless. Thanks.
God bless you.
Thank you. You guys have a good one.
You too. Take care.
Bye-bye.